We will begin today's keynote by inviting our first speaker from Canada, Ms. Sarah Tatsis. Ms. Sarah Tatsis is the Senior Vice President of IB Platform Development at BlackBerry, the Canadian multinational specializing in enterprise software and IoT technology. BlackBerry and AWS have forged a partnership in 2020 to launch BlackBerry IVY, an intelligent vehicle data platform that provides automakers a consistent and secure way in analyzing in-vehicle information and to further use this information to create services for drivers that enhances the driving experience. It's our honor to have Ms. Sarah Tatsis joining with us live from Canada today. Let's welcome her. Sarah, the floor is all yours.
Good morning, and thank you for inviting me to speak today.
Good morning, Sarah.
Good morning. Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit about the evolution of the edge and then discuss a little more about how that applies in the connected vehicle space. So by 2030, we are looking, well, actually 2025, we're looking at over 30 billion connected devices. This is exponential growth. And what we're seeing is the compute power at each of these devices is increasingly becoming much larger. And not only that, we're also seeing that the edge is becoming more and more software defined. What that means is that each of these endpoints are becoming much more complex. And in order to manage complex endpoints, what we see is the need for foundational software that is able to be highly safe, secure, have high reliability, and high performance. We're seeing that many organizations are looking for ways to reduce the complexity of moving to software-defined things and improve their time to market. We're also seeing that as software is coming more and more to these endpoints, there's this need to create new software and new platforms that is able to take this complexity and make it accessible, make the endpoint accessible for innovation. And I'll talk a little bit about what that means in a minute. If we look at vehicles, the previous speaker did mention that vehicles are one of the most advanced endpoints today. With the breadth of sensors that they have, as well as the communication with sensors outside of the vehicle, we are seeing really complex endpoints. The complexity actually of the vehicle has grown by over 400% in the last 10 years. And we're seeing that software is actually becoming the differentiator in many of these vehicles. In fact, actually, we're seeing large automakers investing heavily in the software resources required to essentially make their vehicles fully software defined. Automakers today are looking at projecting software service revenue of over $20 to $30 billion by the end of 2030. So what does that mean? It means essentially that there is a really complex problem that needs to be solved, which is really good because it means typically if we can solve this right, we'll be able to create new and innovative applications for vehicles that we have not even been able to think of yet. One of the things that is really enabling the complexity of these endpoints is the consolidation of domains that's happening in vehicle. And with these high performance compute domains, it's giving the ability to provide a place to do very complex calculations, artificial intelligence, and be able to run essentially algorithms right at the edge in real time. And as we see the need for more and more compute at the edge, we're also seeing the need for really sophisticated platforms that enable innovation and also further drive the ability for new software services to be enabled on the vehicle. In the in the in the in the automotive space, we see a really high focus, obviously, in the evolution towards electric vehicles, but we're also seeing many OEMs wanting to do things like create predictive maintenance capabilities for their vehicle, create new experiences for end customers, whether that be in the entertainment space, whether that be in the productivity space. And also, we are seeing the emergence of new ways of using an automobile. So no longer are people only thinking about an automobile as just a thing that moves you from one place to another, but they're thinking of new applications for that automobile that revolve around the fact that this is a totally unique environment. This is not a living room for consuming entertainment. This is not a smartphone or an extension of a smartphone in terms of applications. This is a highly specialized, highly unique space that people are really looking at creating these brand new innovative applications and driving new services to end consumers. So why are we seeing this type of innovation, and why do we want to use software defined vehicles or software definition for vehicles? First of all, in order to enable in order to enable some of these great new use cases that people are thinking, you first have to deal with the fact that you have a lot of data in these vehicles. And there's so much data, in fact, streaming from all the different sensors within a vehicle, whether that be the car's camera, whether that be the in-vehicle cabin, whether that be audio streams. There's just too much data to send all of the information that's in the vehicle up to the cloud for processing. So now you've got these high performance compute environments where in fact you want to be able to do machine learning and AI right on the edge and only send insights to the cloud. And the way to do this is essentially by having a truly software defined vehicle. We're also seeing that with the fact that there is data that's in fact siloed across not only the vehicle but also in the cloud, automakers are looking at finding ways of bringing together all the different data sets in their environments and being able to create new insights that drive then new experiences for their customers. As well, we're seeing a changing landscape in terms of privacy, in terms of cybersecurity. In fact, cybersecurity, which is one thing that BlackBerry is heavily focused on, is a real true concern within these software-defined vehicles. Can you imagine a ransomware attack in your connected vehicle? The risk of cyber attacks is continuing to grow. We're seeing in many of our endpoint spaces here at BlackBerry over 100 million new pieces of malware being added a year, and that's just growing at an exponential rate as well. So cybersecurity and privacy continue to be two key reasons why we really want to make sure we have the right foundational software within vehicles. And from a performance perspective as well. So as you want to enable new real-time experiences within a vehicle, you obviously need to make sure that the performance of your operating system is able to handle that. So real-time operating systems continues to be a key value proposition in the software-defined space. Maybe I'll talk a little bit as well about what we see as kind of three key themes along the software defined vehicle space. First, we see the need for intelligence at the edge. So having that ability to do machine learning directly within the vehicle on a high performance compute domain, which takes data from various different sensors within a vehicle and externally, and then provides insights up to the cloud, is a key foundational item that we see will drive innovation across the ecosystem. One of the other key things that we see is the need to really reduce developer friction. So every IoT endpoint, as it goes software defined, means it needs software talent in order to take advantage of that endpoint. And from a car or an automaker's perspective, that means typically in the past you've had to have embedded software expertise. What we see at BlackBerry is the need to abstract away the data and complexity of the architecture of the vehicle and be able to provide a great platform for the general application ecosystem and developers more generally to be able to innovate on top of a platform. And this is why actually the software definition is so powerful, because if you can provide that ability for the broader developer ecosystem to understand how they can participate in the ecosystem of automotive, we'll see very interesting and new innovative experiences coming through to our connected and our autonomous vehicle space. And then the third key is that we need to provide a safe and secure platform for this so that we do not see, first of all, things like road deaths, and then second, things like cybersecurity attacks that are infiltrating the software defined endpoint. So I hope that provided a good kind of overview about what we see at BlackBerry as being some key foundational elements that are required to really enable us to drive new innovation for the connected vehicle space. Thank you, and I'll turn that back over to you, Sonia.
Thank you, Sarah, for informative sharing on software for the intelligent age.